Hello, gang. We back. Oh, it's good to be back. We're back. Okay. Hope everyone's having a good day today. Welcome back in. Today's gonna be a fun one. We're starting a new project. Oh my gosh. A new project? You're just working on a project. Yeah, well, we kind of finished it. Not really. It's still going. We can still add to it and keep going, but I got to keep the passion and the fire going. We've got to, I've got, energy to keep building. We're going to keep building. I find that when I stop building, when I kind of finish a project, I get depressed. I'm like, oh, I got nothing to build anymore. So we're building. So today we're going to start a new project. Hey, Mon, how's it going? I think it's going to be a fun one. It'll give us some good practice with databases. And I'm excited to get into this one. So, it's fairly simple in scope if you just kind of keep everything wrapped in the scope of the database. That's all it really is just a database, and everything works together that way. And all we need to do is just set up some simple Python in order to manage that database and sync all those functionalities together. So we're gonna let kind of some people roll into the stream, and we'll give a deep dive into what the project is for today. So I appreciate you guys being here. But we have it. We have a directory loaded up on our screen here, and you can tell from the name of the directory file. It's called Labrador. Pretty cool. I'm stoked. I like the name. I like it. It kind of fits the name. Database retrieval, like Labrador. And it kind of has a good little pun intended. So yeah, welcome in. If you guys haven't seen yet, we have a project, polyworld.app, pushed live. You can make an account, so secure your account on there. Do some searches for some betters on Poly Market, and drop some snapshots in the Discord and show us who you found. So welcome in. We're gonna drop the project here as some people roll up. Okay, so let's get started. So today, right, I kind of want to develop I kind of want to start from the ground up and really focus on. So, what were some things that went well with Polyworld? We stayed organized in our code base. That was huge improvement, definitely defined in our code base. Lots of new learnings. We did like users, we did security, authentication, things like that, which was really good as well. Something that we didn't do so well is we didn't really stay that organized with our the actual internals of the code. A lot of our functions were kind of spaghetti together. Not all of them. Like the database was okay, but we just didn't really as we kind of grew and grew. We still suffered from our functions got further and further away from like the actual naming conventions and whatnot. So let me go ahead and shut the window here. Okay, so today I think it would be fun if we took a dive into laboratory information management systems. Dun, dun, dun. I think that this is a place that we could use our current expertise and knowledge in laboratory management and wet lab skills into applying like what really realistically needs to be involved in equipment management and for kind of more of a niche lab setting, right, rather than just an overall database thing. So I'm excited to get into this one today. and see what we can build. I'm gonna try to build as much as I can by hand, but I do you know will use resources to help me learn. So appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me. This project is going to be called Labrador. I think that's a cool name. Came up with it just now, so I'm pretty stoked with it. We are going to rip, though, to start some code from our previous project. I think that is fair. So we're going to open up our Polyworld project here. Okay, we'll open up our Polyworld project. And I do want to rip this this database like setup. I do want to reuse this. Yeah, I do want to use it. So what we'll do, that will do, donkey, that will do. I think what we're going to use is Python, but it's mainly going to be Postgres. Like that's going to be the main driver of all this. Is we can really just write it all in Postgres and use Postgres to do all of our functionalities, updating, setting, everything. We just need something to kind of tie it all together. So we can just use Python to piece it together and be our middleman, which is easy enough, I think. So let's go ahead and get into this. So this is going to be called database. Funny enough, Labrador has a database. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a file here, and we'll call this, what's going to be the name of this database? We got to keep it fun. Should we call it Lab Daddy? That's what I was thinking we should call it, Lab Daddy. Maybe we'll just call it Labrador because it is the database is Labrador, right? Labrador is the database pretty much. Yeah, we'll do. This is the hardest part, is naming things. It would be fun if you use GraphQL to make some equipment connected based on use case. GraphQL? Yeah, I've never used that before. Okay, let's just do base.py. Or let's call that base. La base. So this is going to be labrador.py. This is going to be a class called Labrador. And I think it's kind of it's like a retriever, like a Labrador retriever. It gets stuff for, it's a Labrador retriever. So we're basically going to rip a lot of the code we used before here to do this. But we're also going to, oh shoot, before we do this, we need to, forgot. We haven't done this, and we need to do Python venv dash mvenv. Dang it. Maybe it's Python dash mvenv dot venv. Oh, let's go. What just happened? Oh, it's shoot. I did not mean to do that. Crap. Let's just get rid of all that. Hold on. That's what we wanted. And then let's do touch get ignore. Oh, no, whoops. Ignore. Let's go ahead and let's do that again. Make dir database, touch labrador.py. Let's do, what else do we need here? So that's gone. Virtual environment, we'll just re-add this. Okay, cool. Got that going. Oh, a graph and SQL? Yeah, I'm sure we can incorporate some sort of graphing into our SQL. For sure. Like we can get a lot of different, dashboard graphs and stuff incorporated to it, definitely. Okay, so we're gonna also do touch requirements.txt. And then we need to make a new, this should go to our virtual environment, right? We need to select our interpreter. There it goes. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do, let me drag this over so I don't show anything sensitive here. I want to see my Docker stuff. Okay, that's right. We got this set up at Docker as well. Man, there's a lot to do here. I'm not showing my screen. There we go. Game of kids and okay, so because this is just local, I think it doesn't really matter. We can we're gonna do I don't think it doesn't matter if I show you guys this. We're just gonna do because it's just local here. DB user, DB pass, DB. What else is the other one we need? Host port name user pass. DB user pass and name. Okay. Need localhost. This is gonna be on this port. The name of this one is gonna be Labrador. Whatever. It's just straight across. It's just a localhost. I'm gonna hack my localhost. Okay, cool. Nice. So then what we'll do is let's go back to my DB from the previous one and look at this example. Okay, yeah, so let's go to database Labrador. We're gonna do this. So now we need to get access to the database here. So, or to our environment variables. So we're gonna do import OS and is there env? No, it's we have to do pip install dot env. I'm in the virtual environment. Yeah. and then we'll upgrade pip while we're here. Okay, so we'll do .env here. The heck? Right there. What's my interpreter? Oh, that's why. Okay. Now we got the interpreter selected. Okay, so now we have that. We'll just clean this up. Okay, so what we're gonna do is do os.get in, or we're gonna do .env .load.env, right? Yeah, okay, so, but what we're gonna do actually is we're gonna set this up like this. Class Labrador, given self, right, is going to have self, we're just gonna initialize this, and then we're gonna set up these connections, right? So I'm gonna take basically the functions that we started with in our previous one, and we're also gonna have in here a self.con equals to none, so there's no connection here. Oops, sorry, I set this up completely wrong. Do I know how to write a class anymore? Oh my gosh, trolling. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is I have a get connection, get cursor, get execute, close connection, commit, and create table. I want these functions from my previous projects. Okay, so what we have here is our database will connect using this, and then what we need to do is go pip install psycho PG3. What? Yo, what's up, Zero? Appreciate you coming in, man. Thanks for coming in. I'm glad I could stream here for you today. Okay. Okay. Got you. So I guess it's just psycho PG. Okay. So this will get a cursor. This will execute the functionality, right, of a dict cursor, giving us back dictionary objects, right? Kind of like JSON. And then close connections, committing. Great. And then what we'll do is we have polybase. Every time we say polybase, we'll just override this to Labrador. Okay. Cool. So now we need to install Okay, I am, let's get some help on this. Ready to install Psycho PG3, but it's not on PyPI. It's on it is on PyPI, it's under a different name. Okay. Or the faster C binary extension.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay.
Okay?
You?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it's actually this. So you install Psycho PG and you install the binary extension as well as the pool extension, which we're going to need both of those. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so that installed that. So now we're going to import Psycho PG. There she is. And now what we're going to do is actually do from Psycho PG import connect, and that'll fill this function here. So what we need to do now is establish a Docker instance within our local machine here. So let's create a let's open up Docker. Let's open up the where's the whale? Go to the dashboard. Okay, let's create a new container using the same image we have. Shoot. Let's get some help on this. I can't remember how to I have Docker, but I'm trying to get an image set up for this on my local machine using Psycho PG's connect function to my local OS get in env variables. I'm speaking another language over here. Okay, so it's just a function here we can do pretty easily. Oh, sick. Okay. It's just a function. So you just call docker run, name is labdb. So let's edit some of this cheese here. So this is going to be just labrador. Oh, shoot. Labrador. And then Labrador. Dun dun dun. Yeah, I think that'll work. Labrador Docker run name Labrador. No spelling errors. Okay, I think we're good. Oh, it's already allocated. Oh, shoot, we got to choose a different port. Oh, shoot. Can we just choose any port? I've always just done that one. We have a Docker running a port open on that port already. Okay, actually, I'll just stop that port. And I'll stop that instance actually, and I'll just try this again. Okay, so let's just do docker compose up -t. Oh, we don't have a configuration file. That's right. Well, let's go snag this one we already have here. It's a docker compose YML. Okay, so Yeah, I think that's fine. So now if we do this, hey, we rolling, 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 roll. All right, we got Docker going. Good, good, good. Um, okay, I think we're fine. Okay, Polyworld's dead. Long live Poly. No, it's not dead. We're gonna keep going on it. We're just taking a little break. Um, sorry. Well, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna use Fast API again. Okay. Alrighty. And then yeah, that's fine. So now what we're gonna do is we need to really. I forgot where that comes from. Okay, Docker up and running. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna write we're gonna do base.py. So base.py is going to import Labrador, and then what we're gonna do is create a class. So I want to attach a bunch of methods to Labrador, but I don't want it to be on Labrador. Never mind. I guess we'll just leave it. So we need to based up class. Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah. So the cursor factory here comes from our connection. Which comes from our connect here. So where's our real, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is where's the real dict row imported at? I forgot. Oh, it's in extras. Okay, real dict cursor. Okay, then we're gonna go I don't think we have. So does Psycho PG come with dot Let me ask. Real dict cursor in Psycho PG, is it not there anymore? Is gone in Psycho, but the good news is you don't need it anymore. It returns rows as dictionaries. Oh, great. I'm glad they made that improvement. We don't have to use dict cursors anymore. Upgrade. Let's go. No cursor factories. Okay. And so we don't have to apply dict cursor as a parameter anymore into here. Sweet. That's really awesome, actually. Cool. And then, yeah, I think we're fine there. Everywhere else, we're all good. Oh, but you do make a row factory as a dict row. Or you can set a per cursor rather than using a whole connection. Oh, okay. So we would say return. We would remove. We don't need dict cursor anymore. And then what we could do is just. We still need to import rows, dict rows, even though it automatically returns dictionaries now. Good question. Yes, you still need to import the row factory dict row parameter. It's what tells scop G3 to return dicts. Rows as tuples by default. Returns the rows as tuples by default. So you get a row of data in tuples rather than dictionaries with the headers mapped to them. Yeah, that's not really... The tuples don't have the column headers mapped to them, correct? So that's why the dict cursor, or in this case, dict row with this new version, is preferred. Right, because it just gives you, your query will return the order of the query in order, the results in order, without any indication of what column each answer corresponds to. Without dict row, you get back to raw tuples, and you have to index into them, remembering the order. Yeah, I'm not doing that crap. So we'll do scop. So we'll do from scop G. We're gonna dot rows. We're gonna import row or dict row, and then you pass in our cursor connection here. We're gonna return what's it called? Row factory is dict row. So now it'll return rows automatically for us. That looks good, I think. Okay. Is there a difference between typing something as list versus typing .list? I thought Python fixed that where you don't have to use type for basic types. I'm not sure. I don't think I can do just list here, can I? Oh, maybe I can. I've always just used typing because I use like all the things it has. But if we can just do regular in the newer versions of Python, then sweet. I must have missed that chapter in Fluent Python. My bad. Thanks for the hot tip, Joan. manually creating methods. I wanted to learn Postgres rather than have it be done for me. And just chaining methods together on a function or an object. It's not that I'm anti-ORM, it's just I didn't really want to learn one. I was kind of like, oh, if you guys, we got 30 people in here. If you guys haven't made an account, go to polywhirl.app and make an account. It's our latest project. We launched it. We built it live on the channel here. Go make an account and do some searches, find some betters, make some snapshots, and let us know if you have any bugs. And drop them in the Discord. Find some betters. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. So I think we're good here. We got that set up. Let's do git add, git commit. Let's do add docker requirements and a database setup. Oh, no push yet. We don't have it. Okay, that's fine. We'll have to link a repo online. Okay. Yo, let's get some users on our in Polyworld, yo. Send us some accounts you guys find. Let's do find some good insiders. Okay, so next up, we wrote this. This is good. Create table, get connection, perfect. I have a setup function which typically will have all of the tables within it, right? But I'm not sure if we should do that this time around. Maybe it's not wise to do that. Last time what I had was a setup function which called all the create tables if not exist. So like setup database, or just call setup, right? Which we would just feed basically create tables for our various table schemas that we would make. Let's create a new file. Let's call this schema.py. Okay, what we'll do is we'll say, so what this is, let's explain the project. So for those that don't know, my name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I've been a chemist for over 4 years. I currently now work as like an instrumentation specialist manager for a little bit smaller lab, kind of managing all their equipment and making sure it's all up to speed and ready to keep working and stuff. So that's what I do now. And so what we're doing is I think we use that knowledge that we have to write a better kind of LIMS database system that is more niche towards like that LIMS aspect, like someone that actually has real wet lab experience that knows, okay, these are the metrics that I really would like actually care about, and I need the flow to work in order for my job to be easier. So that's what we're going to apply here, right? Rather than having some just generic database online spreadsheet thing that you have to really mess with to link everything together and see, make sure you're whatever. No, I'm not going to mess around with that. We know how to code this stuff, so I figured that we could maybe try to make our own, and whether it works out or not, it's a good learning experience for just getting more practice and another iteration here, right? Going for another ride. But I mainly want to focus on like the database stuff, as this is going to be primarily like all the functionality of the program is Postgres. Like we don't need fancy functions in the back end computing data and stuff unless we want to do like niche statistics for this and whatnot. No. We just need basic CRUD application, but have it flow in a way that it works together for an entire kind of lab system across many different equipment. And so how I think we're going to do that is the core of the project, the core is an equipment code. Right? So this is the core of our project. An equipment code, right, is a small code that sorry, lose my train of thought. An equipment code is just a family overarching code for a generic piece of equipment, right? Branching off of this equipment code, we have variants, right? Or models, right? Think of this, the easiest example I can give for this, think of this as, okay, you have an iPhone, an equipment of iPhone. What, Jimmy? Are you going to use YOLO with the... What? So you think of like an equipment code with an iPhone. And then you have various models, right? You have 10, 11, 12, whatever, blah, 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 mini, blah, blah, blah. So you have models that stem off of the general equipment code, right? These models then you can create equipment, right? You can actually create an equipment off of this and assign it various things like a serial number, like blah 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 blah, right? And that's that. But the thing is that we also have other relations that take place. So we have, I guess how this would flow is we have like rooms which tie to equipment, right? We have here's the thing is do we want Hey, World Challenge, thanks for the positive comment. Appreciate you being here, man. You're awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so we have rooms that tie to equipment. I don't want to get too deep into the web because we can really figure this out as we go. I do know how it's going to flow, but once we get there, it'll be easier to kind of unravel those key metrics at each step, at each bubble. But what really matters is the equipment code portion, and then these variants and models. Now, the equipment code, I'm trying to think of, we also have a relation here of service, right? This is what a lot of people don't understand about labs is you have to service a lot of things and keep them up to date for calibrations. So you have service vendor, right? And so I'm trying to think is at what level does the service vendor best interject into here? Probably the equipment code. The service vendor services the equipment code, all of the models within that equipment code, and yada yada yada. If we need to branch this into the variant specifically and override, we can maybe cross that bridge when we get there. There might be a little bit of a triangle going on here. Like if a service vendor, doesn't do a specific model of a certain code, right? That's kind of a niche circumstance. Equipment. A Starship, how's it going, dude? I like that. Whew. Okay. So these are kind of like the primary things for now that we can go off of. The app looks very nice. Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, do some searches, find some insiders, link them in the Discord, and take some snapshots. And hopefully, yeah, if you guys want me to keep going, we can keep going. right? So that's another thing, Jimmy, is equipment can have like all these other like sub little circles on them, right? Um, for like, we have like another thing out here we can make for barcodes, right? And so what's something that I really want to implement is the ability to make a barcode, scan it, and have it link to that specific equipment. And what I want the barcode to do, what's really important that a lot of these things don't do, is not just link to the equipment, right? Not just like, okay, that one's tied to that one, cool. But I want the barcode, when scanned, to take a snapshot, or I want to write a program to incorporate into the barcode, like a side program, right? Yes, it does link to the equipment, but there's a side program that goes, well, they can tap into that. And when scanned by a certain device or certain scanner or whatever, or when selected, will add that equipment to a database, basically like a traceability. So think of like you have a project, and I used this pipetter. I used this fume hood. I used this, purification machine. I used this centrifuge. And then when I go to draft my report, all I have to do is just, okay, go to my, all of my registered equipment that I, scanned, and just print out a formalized report of, okay, this is my equipment traceability, right? That's kind of the idea of where I want to take this. So, that's a lot. But I think with some good effort, we can move fairly quickly, as a lot of it is kind of copy paste because we're just doing schema balancing between various relational databases here, and it'll kind of mold itself together. So, here we go. Equipment code. So equipment codes is going to look like this. So for codes, we need to what kind of thing would be important? Let's do some brainstorming. Or let's just kind of show it where we're at here so far. Okay, let's get caught up to make sure our project's kind of caught up here. Make sure our AI buddy here is caught up to where we're at. I just use it to kind of bounce my ideas off of. All right. Ready to rock. My Git connection has a suggestion here. Oh, it just wants us to do this. Since execute is for writes, insert, update, delete, and you need a separate path for reads that returns data. I thought I did a query method. Oh, I didn't copy that over. My bad. Let's go get our query method. My bad. Wow. Here it is. Whoops, we already have a query method. It suggested you need a query method. There it is. Okay. Okay, sweet. All right, let's just get it updated here. We should be good to go. Oh, I have my query. I have a dict cursor here. I need to get rid of. And we want to do. It's just to just do this. And don't assign them. Oh, those are just from the old Psychop G or G2, right? All right, cool. Equipment.py. Start defining the actual schema. Okay. So that's the thing here. Okay, equipment codes. You're going to have what should I name it? Let's do I guess it's just ID, right? Which will be not null. We'll do sorry, this will be primary key, not null, default. I mean, you can't default to, you just have to give an ID to equipment code. There's no like if, ands, or buts about it. So it's not like a blank or null ID code or like a blank string. So ID, so I think, is that all we need for equipment codes is just primary key, just all of our list of equipment codes. I think that's it, right? It's as simple as that for this first layer, because everything kind of ties to the equipment codes via something. So let's get some help here. So let's say, okay, I'm writing my schema.py file now, focusing on the equipment code schema. I have an ID primary key not null. I don't want to default to anything because you have to provide equipment code in order to make an equipment or whatever. And so the flow for a blank start on the application would be make an equipment code, make a variant of that equipment code, make an equipment under that variant, and then we have other things like service vendors, which so that's my question is, I have equipment code ID right now, and then I don't think I need to put like information like service vendor or whatever thing, because I need to just have a table called service vendors that has foreign keys. No, that has yeah, how about that? Let's get some help. This is where the learning is taking place. You're thinking about it exactly right. The equipment codes table should be lean. Just the identity and the core attributes of the family. Everything else like service vendors, manufacturers goes to its own table and links back to the equipment via foreign keys. Beautiful. So service vendors and equipment manufacturers have their own standalone tables and relationships. Lives on the equipment units and equipment variants table as foreign key column pointing to them. So you have equipment. Maybe this is bad. We'll say what would be a better equipment families, like a family? Equipment umbrella. Equipment family fields. Sounds like a farm. Family fields. So this just has like ID, a name, which would be varchar, what? 100. Not null. This would be primary key of varchar as well. If we wanted to make this like a 3 limit, right? Maybe like a 5 limit. But 3 is probably fine. You can make a lot of combinations with 3. Yeah, so this needs to be unique, right? Good call, Jimmy. Unique. We have description, varchar, or I guess this is just a text field if you're not limiting the number of characters. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. It looks like I forgot we do list here with all of our field names in here as strings of themselves that we are going to call on create table. So I don't think I want to give the equipment a name. I think I want to give the, yeah, you give it a name and a description. I think description might be a little overkill for this ID family. So let's just do created at, right? We want to created at and do timestamp TZ, not null default now. Well, it'll default to now, so it'll not be null by anyways, right? Okay. I think that does that for equipment family fields. Okay. Then we have equipment variant fields. Right? Which would be ID var char varchar 5. Mm. 5. And then what we're going to do is say primary key, not null, unique. This is going to be I'm trying to think if we should add like a UUID in here for the table, like an internal number. We can probably figure that out later. So equipment variant fields would probably be serial primary key, right? Family ID would link to varchar 3 not null and then references. Equipment families ID. Right. No, just very. It's a singular family field with. Okay, and the tables are okay. Equipment families ID. Okay, so then we have model, which would be varchar 100 not null. Model, maybe like a manufacturing ID. So ID family has a model, manufacturing ID. It's also going to have a cycle, a maintenance cycle. So model, manufacturer ID. So you spell manufacturer. Yeah. This will be in UUID. No, this will be a varchar 3. Not null. Okay, so just references manufacturer's ID, right? And then also a created at timestamp, which is the same as this one. Okay. That looks good. So equipment fields. Right, so equipment have their own ID, which is serial primary key. It has a family. It has this basically. it has no, so this would be, yeah, similar to that one, sorry. This would be variant ID. It links to the previous table. Right. Which is a int, not null references equipment variant ID. So the variant, though, is based off of the model. Right, so it'll be equipment model fields. Model gets a ID, which is varchar 100 primary key, and it references the family ID varchar, and we'll say that this is, yeah, that's 3 is fine. We'll say 3 for now. Has a manufacturer ID, has created at, just like everything else does as well. So ID is serial primary key variant ID, which will be model right. Model is a varchar 100 not null references equipment models ID and created at. So then it has, basic information like serial number, which would be varchar 100 not null right. Yeah, we learning, Ron. Then we have a status, which is text. I guess no. Varchar 50. Statuses are kind of limited. Text is for like paragraphs. Default to inactive. Default to inactive. And then created at. And then these have a room or a location rather, right? And room would be varchar 50 not null. Well, I guess you can have null because no room, maybe not yet put in a room. But this is going to be references locations ID. Okay. So what we have here is we need a manufacturers next. Manufacturers. Manufacturer fields. So this is going to be ID, which will be varchar varchar 50. No, varchar 3, sorry. Which would be primary key. Okay, so yeah. Varchar 3 primary key not null unique. And then manufacturer links to a piece of a model of equipment. Okay. Yeah, so manufacturer links to a model of equipment. So it'd be manufacturer is varchar oh no, this is manufacturer fields. Whoops. So this would be ID yeah. Be like name varchar 100 not null. It would be like email or contact. Email. Which would be another varchar, I guess. I guess you could be null for email. I may not always have one. Then it wants like a phone and a website recommendation. Phone, which would be varchar 50. And then we have a website. Like that. So then kind of a similar table would be service vendor fields. Right? Which would be ID varchar. So the service vendor gets a 3. Yeah, primary key, not null, unique, name. 100, email, phone. Then like we'll say services is like text. Okay, so let's take these guys. And see, let's get some feedback. typo in family fields name. Whoops. Missing a comma in equipment fields here. And then model fields. So model has an ID, model number, links back to the family as a manufacturer, and is created at. So this is a model that's the equipment serial number. And so then the hey, what's going on, self-improvement? I can turn up the volume. I'm gonna turn up the volume of my mic. I need to get like an actual mic. I feel that's my next purchase here. We're doing like a kind of a LIMS database system here. So model name. So we'll do like name, varchar 100 not null. So in equipment field, you have a model here. Should a unit really be able to use this without a model? Probably not null. Oh, it should be not null, sorry. Okay, so then we need really quickly, we have locations, which is equal to, so it's going to have an ID, which is a varchar 3, or no, it's going to be a int varchar, let's say like maybe 10 for like the room number. Should be primary key. We then are going to have it's going to link to equipment that are in this location. Location field, sorry. So then this has a location here. Then this has it's just a location field like that. I think is how it's supposed to be only. Let's see. So equipment model fields. Varchar name not null, comma. Add a created at to all of these. And then location could just be an ID. And I guess we'll make it a name. If you want to optionally name it, which would be varchar 50. You don't need to name it necessarily, but we'll kind of make it If I can turn it into something I could use in my day job, that would be pretty helpful. So hopefully, maybe Ron, I can after maybe like a month of building, we can merge some, or I can take it and showcase it and see if they want to use it. I don't know. We'll find out. Varchar 100 not null. So ID created at. Usually, have they created at the bottom, and then we don't need a description of the location. Okay, I think this is fine. Okay, one thing to flag. The model column in equipment fields. The column is named model, but it's a foreign key reference. Convention is to name foreign key columns with underscore ID in the suffix. Okay. Model ID. That's right. So we have a references like we did for the other ones. Okay, that's good. And then location. Location ID. References location ID. But you still need to decide whether a service vendor links to. So service vendors, so in equipment fields, so I'm going to do models. So the model is serviced by a service vendor. What do you guys think? Should the model be, let's ask. That's what I'm trying to decide is, right, you have equipment, so think of like an overarching thing, like a centrifuge, right? A service vendor might be able to service a few centrifuges, but not all of the centrifuges you have. So I'm thinking that the service vendor needs to be tied to the model field, like the equipment model. Like, okay, that vendor services this model, and then every equipment that has that model gets that service vendor. Yeah, okay, so that means the vendor's qualified to prove to service this specific model, which means the link lives on equipment model fields. And when you look up a unit, you join through its model to find the approved vendor. But there's a nuance. A single model might have multiple approved vendors, and a single vendor might service multiple models. That's a classic many-to-many relationship, which means you need a junction table rather than a simple foreign key column. So equipment model vendors, service vendors. One model can have very many vendors as well. Okay, that would make sense. So it's suggesting us to add equipment model vendors. Right, which is the primary key for model ID and vendor ID. That makes sense. Okay, I think we're good here with what we have for this initial framing of the schema. What? Oh, just equipment fields, the model ID type needs to match what's defined. I think it's bar chart 50. Yeah, model ID is 50. So what other tables do we need? Do we need any other tables? I don't think so. First iOS app? No. iOS app grinding. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and wire this up here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to import base.py. I'm going to import Labrador. And I'm going to go no, never mind, it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll just kind of close these. Get some room here so we can see what's going on. Okay, so let's get into this. So what we're going to do is we're going to need to write some create table functions here, and we're also going to need to do that. So def create create. I wish we could. So let's just load up our schema on the side here. Family. Okay, this is going to be called. So this is going to take in self dot create table. The name is going to be equipment families, and then fields equals 2, and we're going to go from schema import all, and we'll do equipment family fields here. So then we'll copy this down, basically create equipment models. Right, equipment models, equipment model fields. Next, create create table model vendors. Create equipment model vendors table. Model vendor fields. Next, we're going to do create table equipment. Called equipment. Equipment fields. Create table create location table, locations, equipment table, create locations table, locations fields, create manufacturer table, which takes in manufacturers and manufacturer fields, and then service vendors. There we go. So now we have those functions. Why do you use Python? That's what I learned. I don't know. There was this college kid this week who made a new app, got to #1 app in the store in games, and now has 20 job offers. Dang, dude. That seems pretty cool. You should hit him up, Tim. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to call these create table functions. Right? Within our setup here to like instantiate the tables. Probably could have AI do this part, make it easy on me, but whatever. Model vendors, create equipment table. Create equipment table, create locations table. Create manufacturers table, create service vendors table. Okay, I think we're good there. Hey Cab, what's going on, dude? Okay, I think we're good now for this part. Now we have our functions, our tables set up. Now we just need to, I guess, like what? It's the thing is with this kind of project, being that it's so kind of CRUD based, that it's really just schemas, pedantic data validation, front end. Like that's literally it. Like we don't even have like the poly market stuff that we did before. Like we're not doing requesting and having service functions to do various services and stuff. It's really all lives and dies within the Labrador update functions and queries and stuff. Which is interesting, right? All right, let's take this and see what we got. Oh, so it needs to set up in a certain order of dependency, right? So rather than calling them all like whatever, you have to call them in a certain cadence, like so. So you create locations, manufacturers, services, and then you call the ones that depend on certain things. Okay. Cool. Custom tables, and then gets inserted into the setup. Cool. What kind of? Just gonna do that. Make it easier for us to read. And these are like these are like the basic utilities, and these are like what our implementations here. Okay, so what would be our next path of action here? Well, we have our tables created. We know if we run up a setup function and run this db setup, it'll load. So I guess honestly, like, we need a way to create tables via form inputs, and yeah. Right. Let's move on. Okay. I want to have things really first, though. Let's talk about the change audit log, right? So this is going to be probably just a table in itself, no? For just like, um, changes or whatever. And the various change will reference what table what actual change the table came from, and then what specific like fields were changed in the table, or whatnot. Or what would be a better way to approach? Would it be just a table tracking a table or whatever? A single unified audit table is exactly the right approach. This is a well-established pattern called a generic audit table, one table that captures changes from anywhere in the system. The core idea: every time something changes anywhere, an equipment status updates, a location, anything, one row gets written into the audit log describing what happened. Perfect. So what it's suggesting is we have a change log fields, right, which are going to have an ID, which will be serial, not null, or sorry, it'll be kind of whatever, primary key. We would have whatever table name we're referencing, right? Or the table ID that we're referencing. Yeah, table ID that we made a change on, which would be well, we don't really have the ID specifically because that's the thing, is I don't know for table ID, because all of them are different in terms of how they're established. This would get a record ID. So which record field, old value, new value. So it's suggesting these kind of things. Let's ask here, let's say, for the change log, are we needing to directly reference the table that the change was made on so that we can show these logs appropriately, like with the table ID, but we can't capture all these tables IDs because they're all instantiated differently. Or, hold on, I'm not thinking about this right. So record ID stores the ID as text. That's the key insight. Every table has some kind of ID. You just convert it to a string when you read it and log it. You don't need foreign constraints pointing to every table. That would be impossible to manage. Instead, table name plus record ID together form a logical reference that you use to look things up. Got you. Okay, that makes sense. So then let's add in a def create change log table, which would call self.create table, given a name of change log, and fields equal to changelog fields. Then in our setup function, let's add this table, self.create changelog table. Nice. That'll work. That will work, donkey. That will work. Okay. This is good. We're making good progress here, boys. If you guys aren't subscribed, if you guys could please sub, like the stream, go to Polyworld, make an account. Let's see if we have any people that made accounts here. Let me log in to my admin account and see how many accounts we have. Hey, we got 8 users now. Thanks so much. We got 1 person to make an account since we got the stream. Shout out Tim, Lokesh, Numbers, Ant, and Overdue, and Sexy Zill for making accounts on Polyworld. You guys are beasts. Thanks so much for supporting and becoming some of our first 10 users. You guys aren't in Polyworld, make sure you guys click the link in the pinned comment, polyworld.app. Make an account and do some searches for some insiders. Find some good addresses and let us know what you guys find. So the thing is, with an app like this, it's fairly simple with the back-end terminology. It's pretty much all just Postgres queries and update CRUD functionality. We're not doing API calls, and we probably could insert some stuff later on once to if we wanted to have API calls get and automatically insert things and whatnot. But for the general purpose of adding equipment, adding records, having all these things tied together, it's as simple as just this CRUD functionality in our Labrador database, and then a front end wired up by fast API to be able to interact with. Because if we wanted to, we could just write dummy code to add things into the database, but it's just that simple, right? Am I overthinking it? You're not overthinking, you're actually just seeing it clearly now. You've essentially already built the hard part conceptually. The whole back end is really just create, read, update, and delete. That's it. Fast API just comes with a thin layer that exposes those laboratory methods as HTTP endpoints, so the front end can call them something like this. Fast API receives the request, calls the laboratory method, returns the result. Barely any logic lives in the route themselves. The only thing that adds any real complexity later is the ticketing system, because tickets have workflow states that and automation logic. Even then, but even that is just more CRUD with some status transition rules on top. So no, you're not overthinking it. You got a clean foundation. You just want to start writing queries and equipment py.now or get something actual functional. Okay, cool. Well, that's nice. So here's the plan then. We need a general dashboard, right, which highlights you the current status of the equipment. So let's kind of line out some to-dos so next time when we come back, I'm going to take a little bit of a break now, but when we come back we have some stuff to tackle. So we obviously need to wire up the fast API middleman to expose our routes, which shouldn't be too hard. We then need to establish a front end using probably like React by as we know how to use. Or it could be honestly as simple as just raw HTML, CSS, but Reactify honestly is quicker in some cases with how easy it is now. We would need basically forums to start off with adding, equipment families, and then within those various families you can add models, and then within those models you add equipment, and then you can tie. Yeah, you have to make a family, right? And then you have to make a model with a manufacturer at that point. And then you can make an equipment, but you have to make an equipment with a vendor. So it goes family, and then model with manufacturer next, tied at that level. And then the one level down from that is equipment with location. Oh, sorry. No, the model has a vendor. And then equipment has, so it goes, okay, let's back up. We design family is just the name with a 3-tier letter code, no dependencies. Model belongs to a family, has a manufacturer. Vendors are linked to the model, right? So you have an equipment unit, which ties down to a model with model vendors junction applied to that. Service vendors are applied under the model vendors with the locate. Okay, gotcha. So a manufacturer must exist before creating a model. A family must exist before creating a model. A service vendor must exist before linking to a model. A location must exist before creating a unit. And a model must exist before creating a unit. Yeah. Yeah, so map out a clean to-do list that would encapsulate all of the things we need to do to set up a basic, interactive display with CRUD access for all of this functionality. And then I'll come back next time and work on these bullet points. See, this is how I go through my projects, is I'll put on the push to talk, and I'll just sit here and talk like I'm talking to like a friend I would want to bounce ideas off of. I don't have any IRL friends, so it's just like, that's all I got here. AI, we're typical tech bro. AI girlfriend. Here's your complete to-do list. Okay, perfect. Beautiful. We got 30 people in here. Yo, go make a Polyworld account. Polyworld.app. That's our latest project we just released. If you guys also could leave a like on the stream. Appreciate you guys being here. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Should I take a break or keep going? We got 30 people here, so I kind of want to keep going, but I need to feed the dog and stuff. Shoot, you guys. Let me feed the dog and cat real quick. Hey, come on. Get some food, babes. Let's eat. Come eat. Get your grub. Get your stop. Get out here. Alright. We're back, boys. We're back in the business. Yeah. I want AIGF by 2030. Slow AIGF coming your way. Okay. Alright. Next thing we need to do is let's look at our to-do here. Run a setup against a Docker to verify all the tables. So let's just write a quick little git add. Git add table schemas. No push. No push. Okay, let's go ahead and touch main.py, or let's do touch, let's do make dir test, cd tests, touch, test, database .py. We're going to code test database .py. I think we should already have, no, we probably don't. We probably need to install pytest. Pip install pytest. Hey Max. Yeah, I need to get better at those for sure. Thanks for the suggestion. I don't know any like formalized way. I've never used Git collaboratively with anybody. It's only been my own committing. So I have no experience in like message. So I'm pretty bad at it. I'm sorry. I know it makes people cringe. So feat, minor, major, patch, major, in your message something like featuring add X feature or chore, etc. Feature, minor, major, patch, major. Thanks, Max. I need to do those for sure. Thanks for catching me on that. Hey, Dev Larry, you building? What are we building now? We're doing a new project. We're doing kind of more of a relational database project for LIMS equipment management. And I think it'd be pretty easy to just like get some practice with wiring up a quick CRUD application and adding a new kind of project to our list here for, and then we can add some more specific features that would pertain to like LIMS systems directly, which I think would be helpful. Hey, Lacra. Hello, Mike. I've just started learning programming. Would you say Python and JavaScript are the way to go with my background with Shopify e-commerce customer service data analytics? I don't know. This is what I do say to everybody that kind of asks for some general advice. I do preface by saying that, hello, my name is Michael. I appreciate you guys being here so much. I'm 27. I have a degree in biology, human biology, and a minor in chemistry. I do not have a degree in computer science and programming. I'm just sitting here in my room for the past 2 years, streaming myself, learning this from scratch, trying to teach myself just for fun, to gain new skills, to try to maybe get a new better job in the future if I ever get to that point, and double my salary by being a dev. I don't know, but I do preface though, like whatever I'm doing here is learning, it's growth, it's trying. So take that with a grain of salt. Don't think I'm doing things here that are right. Like I'm definitely doing things that are wrong. I'm trying to fix them and improve. So project after project. So just understand that. But if you happen to learn something alongside me, then that is really awesome. Like that's the point of the channel, is to learn alongside me learning. But don't like learn from my mistakes and learn from me making mistakes. Don't like learn from me as like a teacher. I would really that's what I like to preface. Okay, so we have PyTest here. Let's write some tests for this. How do we? I forgot. How do you get it started? How do you? How do you start the test file? I forgot. You just import our PyTest, and you can do a fixture if you needed to apply certain functionalities, but I don't think we need to do that. We just need to write test functions here. So I think we just go, let's just do from database dot Labrador import Labrador. Let's go, we need to do, I think it's dot database. And then we need to do we need to write a function, right? Def test table creation. And what we'll do is we will run, we'll go db is equal to Labrador instance. We go db.setup. And then what we can do is that'll set up, we'll go how can we assert the table is there? That's the thing I want to try to, so we have the database. We want to say db dot is, maybe we'll write a function like is table for our various tables. I don't know, like what are, something like this. So we have like equipment families. We have equipment models. We have equipment model vendors. We have equipment. We have locations. We have manufacturers. And we have Sky. Yeah, there. Service vendors. And then we have change logs. And so we'll say is table, we'll say assert all return true if bool x is true for all values in x. I forgot how to use the all function. Return true if bool x is true for all values in the x iterable. Oh, I forgot how to use this function. All in Python. Oh yeah, so you can pass it a generator. That's what I wanted to do. So you can say all db dot is table for is table x for x in tables, right, like that. And so we can pass this a generator for all here, and then we can assert that all of those are in there. And we can assert this as true. And so what we can do is in our database here, we can write a function called def is table, which will call query right. We just need to check that this table exists in our database. So would this just be like select and then you pass in the table name, which is a stir, and select table name here. I'm gonna ask for a little help here. Ask for a little help here and say I am trying to write a test for this table creation for a is table bool. What would the query look like? You don't query the table itself, you query the Postgres system catalog, information.schema.tables. Okay, got you. So is table would be select exists weird. Okay, select one from information schema.table where table schema is equal to public and table name equals to %s. Something like that. So if it exists, select exists. So you have this query, select one from, so you select the table name and then select if it exists. Okay, got you. On top of that query. That would make sense. So then what we do is we just have our results here is equal to self.query for the query here, and values is going to be table name in a list here, and then fetch one will be true. Right, and then you can return res. It's saying that the res will be returned to us and exists here, a key, right? Because this will return back to us. A list of all of the values that exist, okay. One second. Eventually. Okay, we're good. Okay. So that'll return back that. So now let's go run this test here. So let's just run Python, or no, sorry, PyTest test/test database.py. Shoot. We want to include the inits, I think, right? Do we include the inits? Forgot. Let's look at our elder project. Git ignore. We have it like this. I'm just going to copy what we have here. Okay, so we'll use these guys. Postgres data volume. Okay, good. So then we want to make sure that this is being, so this is in our tests. If you one root out, I thought it would go like that. No. Import relative package unknown parent. Yeah, we're getting this thing again. Alright, we can't run if I remove these dots, I don't think that does it either. No module name database. So how did I do it in, gosh. How did I do it? No, I've never used UV before. I don't even really know what it does. Okay, so right, it's having problems importing this. Uh, um, it's not with the two dots. It's not. Ah, shoot. Let me get some feedback. I'm trying to figure it out, but I always get tripped up on this, the module stuff, every single time. Conf test your root. Oh, PyTest needs to know exactly where our root is. Create an empty file at the root level for conftest.py and leave it there. And then you can relative import or change it to an absolute path. Okay, so we have to apply a config conftest.py blank file here. Oh, interesting, to tell it where to run from the root. No. Okay. We couldn't import our schema from Labrador here. Oh, create change logs table. Right, we made that change. Information schema. That table does not exist. Ah. We were trying to select one from information schema, trying to verify that the database is there. Information underscore schema dot tables. Oh, tables. Boom! Passing these tests, baby. Look at us writing test-driven development. Look at us. Is Polyworld source code available in your GitHub? No, it's on my GitHub, but it's private right now. As it has like, well, my public thing doesn't have any environment variables like that are. It does. It has my resend APIs and stuff in there, so that's why it's private. No, but I'm not pushing those to GitHub anyways. I can make it public, but it's kind of like a real product, so I don't really want to make it public per se. But I'm down if you join the Discord. I've asked people if they wanted to contribute on it, but no one really takes me up on it. Like, because everybody just wants to be paid. It's like no one codes for fun anymore. I guess people are. It's just the environment we're in. Everybody needs a job. You can't blame people. Everybody's got bills to pay. It's like no one can code for free anymore. For fun. Okay. All right, cool. We got that test. Let's go here. Git commit. DB. We'll say add testing for database setup. Ah, no push. We gotta set it up. Is the same as pip, but built on Rust language. Is a lot faster. You don't pin yourself inside an environment in your terminal. Oh, does UV? You don't have to use virtual environments anymore? I've been so used to using virtual environments. Yeah, we'd be learning here. If you guys want to make an account on my project we just released last week, polyworld.app, you guys can now make an account and search for address betters. Try to find some cool addresses and link them in the Discord. Tweet them at Polyworld app on X. Yeah, let's try to get our project some users, huh? It's the pinned comment, polyworld.app. Okay, that looks good. So we wrote a test there. Um, Next thing we really need to do is just um, next thing we really need to do. Oh, this ignores PyTest cache in my thing. Does git ignore PyTest cache? Oh yes, it does. Here, good. Okay. It's a VNV, but it's just built different. Okay, I'll have to look it up, maybe get some more info. You guys aren't subscribed? Subscribe! Appreciate you being here. My name is Michael, 27. I've been teaching myself to code for about 2 years, pretty much live on the channel. Uh, Completely live, almost everything I've been doing here. Okay, so what we're working on is basically like a limb system. We're taking kind of our current, my current job. I used to be a chemist. I now do lab management, instrumentation management, and specialization. So I'm kind of wanting to dabble into creating my own limb system and seeing how I could tailor it, appropriately to, needs the actual labs use. So that's the goal for this new project. So I appreciate everybody being here. What we're going to do next is we have tables created now. So we need to wire up a fast API, or let's go to our checklist here. We had a checklist. Okay, run setup against the verified tables. Great. Our next wants us to do is add indexes on frequently queried columns. So such as model ID, location ID, changelog table name. I don't think we need to do that necessarily right now. So we obviously need a bunch of queries, like insert family, insert manufacturer, inserts, a bunch of inserts and getters, updates. We need fast API on main.py and routes. And then front end. Okay, we got our work cut out for us then, it sounds like. Okay. Let's work on, I guess, some functions. We need functions. So def insert equipment family given self. Okay, so we're going to do our query is going to be select, or no, insert.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay.
Okay?
You?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate you. You're awesome. I want to check out one of our insert examples from our previous project. Got you. Okay, so you go insert into the value we want equipment family. Insert into equipment families. What columns do we want in equipment families? Let's open our schema. So there's 3 columns here. We have ID, name, created at, insert into equipment families, values, right? And so we'll have Pydantic validate these for us. So we don't necessarily need to worry about the injection here, but we'll still be safe about it. So values, would we just do a quote dot, wait, how do we do this? It would just be a F string. Can you do an F with a triple string? Yes, you can. Be quote dot join oh no, maybe not. Let's just do, you'd have insert into here, you would do ID, which is a stir, a name, which is a stir, and a created at, which is a date time. So you do, but we don't want to, we need to make sure that these are valid equipment IDs, right? We'd obviously need some sort of functions to verify this data before we insert them. Let's get some, let's ask about that. What tips do you have for avoiding injection here? Right. %s. Oh, and then the timestamp happens automatically, right? So that would take care of that basically. Simple enough. The kitty's downstairs licking the bowl clean, I can hear. Then we'd call self.execute, our self-execute function for the query, and values equal to ID and name. Perfect, okay. I'm curious to know more about the Polywell infrastructure. Where is it hosted, and what's the approximate monthly cost? Yeah, I hosted it on a Hetzner server. It's just a VPS server, Linux, just a Linux box basically. It's hosted in the United States on the West Coast somewhere, but it has a bunch of different options on Hetzner's. You can do all over the world hosting. And then it's just a cheap like AMD processor, the x86 processor, for like $4 to $6 a month. So I just have my own, just like an SSH into my own Linux box basically, and just spin up. All I had to do was just install Python and Node and stuff, and then just run my backend program, and then build my front end on top of it, and then link it with the Nginx.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
It's kind of what runs it all.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for the sub. Appreciate you guys. Sorry. Oh my God. gosh. How does React and Python work together? Yeah, through Fast API, exposing the backend routes through Fast API or some sort of um, API router, just to get them HTTPS endpoints. What's the best ways you to teach yourself? You're looking at it right here, my boy. We just sit here day after work, just showing up. That's honestly the hardest thing about learning programming is just showing up and doing it. That's literally the biggest hurdle. I think I ran it with Uvicorn, but um, or maybe NGINX runs it on its own, and I didn't install. I just have Uvicorn for my testing on my back end. Maybe NGINX. I'm not sure. I kind of use. I did help Claude help me pretty much with the launching because I've never done that before, so I'll be transparent on that part. Okay. Have you ever thought about switching over to Roblox development? People have asked if I wanted to make any games or anything. I just don't really play much video games myself. I used to be really big into video games, but I kind of burnt out as a kid. Like I played so much as a kid that I just like I just kind of lost it. Like I can only sit down and play for like 30 minutes, and I'm like done. I can play. I play Stardew Valley though. We play Stardew Valley on the stream sometimes. Okay, so that'll execute and insert into a family. That's good. So that function's done. Um, what's our next function we need to write? So let's do. Yeah, so we'll take this function and we'll stick it below this guy here. So our custom table functions are all in here. So insert equipment family. So they'll kind of all live together in the same like general vicinity of code, just to help us out. So we'll kind of make some more comments here. Probably can make some like doc strings or whatever they are. But we'll just say like this is going to be the equipment families table information, like getters and stuff. And then this will be like that. So then we'll kind of have just basically the same kind of vibe going on for all of these. We just need like inserters for all of these. So insert equipment model. It's kind of like the annoying part is you're just writing CRUD functions, right? So insert equipment model, insert into equipment models. And this has ID, name, whatever family ID it links to. A manufacturer ID. Okay. So it has a name, family, ID, which is a stir. It has a manufacturer ID, which is a stir. And that's it. So we'll add two more values onto here. And we'll stick onto here those values. I guess it's just as simple as that, right? I kind of feel like it's like too easy. Okay. So then we have vendors here. This is probably what AI is good for, but we need to get better, right? So if we, the only way to get better is by typing. Equipment, model, vendors, table. Okay. And we'll have an inserter here, I guess. Insert equipment, model, vendor. Model ID, vendor ID, that's it. So model ID. Vendor ID. Insert into equipment, model, vendors. Yeah, equipment, model, vendors. We just need 2, and it's just going to be model ID and vendor ID. Like that. Cool. It's fun when you get to use it. Fail to ban, etc. You have to explain? I I don't know what those are. Sorry, dudes. Don't make fun of me. I'm still learning. Lots of different packages and things you have to add, and there's so much stuff. We're using Postgres. Yeah, I've got a bunch of great stuff on my channel here. Python crash course videos. I recommend doing Harvard CS50P and Python crash course together. I don't think you don't pay for anything. I don't think you need to pay for anything to learn how to code in Python. I didn't. Okay, so equipment model vendor's name created after these 2 values, model vendor. Cool. Now we have the same thing here. Def insert equipment, right? Which will have a similar approach. Except we're going to have in equipment, we have ID, model ID, serial number, status, location, ID. That's it. So this will be stirs all around, stirs all around. Everybody gets a stir. You're a stir. Everybody. Okay, we're going to insert into equipment the ID, model ID, serial number, status, whoops, we don't need this. Trolling. I need to finish this. There we go. Alright, we're back in business. So this has 4 values that we're trying to insert. Right? And so execute via the model. We want ID, model ID, serial number, status, and location ID. Perfect. So then we'll do a comment here. Like that. Now for this guy, we'll need an inserter. Insert. We'll just copy the function. Insert location. We want to insert for location is ID name. That's it. Insert into locations. ID and name. Just those 2 points. Like so. ID and name here. Boom. Look at us. We're flying. Okay. And the best approach is to learn by doing, not use AI, and learn fundamentals well. Don't get stuck watching tutorial videos. Tutorials, hell. Yeah, I just don't like building things that other people have already done necessarily. Like, yeah, it's fine to reinvent the wheel for learning purposes, but in terms of like if you're copying down like this to the styles, like you should at least be able to like try to expand your creative thinking for at least doing CSS styling different from a tutorial, right? Like if you're copying everything down, like it's not like the same as like taking notes, like where it's like it's not like memorizing for a test. Like it's memorizing for application. It's a different type of memorization, and it doesn't require like memorizing everything. And don't get stressed out that you have to like cram everything into your head. Like just get the general concepts, get the gist, be okay with it, and then if you need to go back and look up how do I set up the function? I know how the function works, but I just forgot like what do I have to do to call a class initializer? Like that's fine. Like that's just a little bit of a tedious nitpicking little syntax thing, but the general idea of a class and knowing what it does down to its core levels is the concepts I think that people are trying to like you know we're trying to make like our own custom limbs here for like the movement and flow of equipment, and be able to potentially incorporate like barcoding and different traceability automations for like projects and stuff across like a limb system. I think would be really cool. If you guys aren't new, I stream almost every single day me programming and teaching myself from scratch. So if you guys are interested in joining along me, whether you're programming alongside me or just doing your homework on the side as a study method or just holding yourself accountable and doing your own thing, that's great. Use the stream however you would like. I've got a lot of great resources for me reading books aloud, breakdowns of and check out some of my videos, and just hundreds of streams so far of us building. So, cool. So insert equipment model. Nice. That takes care of, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 there, so that's fine. There, insert equipment into equipment table. Insert location. We have to location. Beautiful. So now we'll have an insert manufacturer. So this is kind of the boring part, but it's just like CRUD. This is like kind of like what it is for establishing these database endpoint things. We need all these functions so our API can call them and hit them to do these updates. So insert into insert manufacturer. Insert into manufacturer. So this has ID, name, email, phone, website. ID, name, email, phone, website. So 5. And then execute this into there. Cool. That handles that one. We'll do a little note here. Okay, we have service vendor, so similar approach. Insert insert service vendor, insert into service vendors ID, name, email, phone, services. Okay, and then execute that. And then change log, last one here, insert. Now this one's gonna be a little different. So insert change log. So this one takes an ID, which automatically updates, so we don't need that. We need a table name, which is a stir, a record ID, which is a stir. We need a field name, which is a stir. Everything is stirs here. Old value, stir, new value, stir, changed by, stir. We don't need a timestamp. Note, stir. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inserts. We're going to do table name. Ooh. Record ID. Field name. Old value. New value. Changed by. And note. And then we'll insert all of these into here. Okay. Nice. Why'd you stop reading the C-book? We didn't stop reading the C-book. We just did a couple practice problems the other day. So what I did was I was doing some of the exercises at the end of chapter 12, but I didn't realize that I was doing the ones at the end of chapter 13. So we actually had to go back to chapter 12 and do those ones. So we did the first couple from chapter 13, unfortunately, and then we did half of the exercises for chapter 12. We need to go back through and finish the last half, probably tomorrow, which is when I really want to go back. I'm having a lot of fun programming in C. Like, I'm really actually getting these pointers. It's actually clicking a lot now that we've been getting a lot of practice. So it's actually pretty fun. And so tomorrow we'll go back through and finish the back half of the exercises for chapter 12, and then we will read chapter 13. But I just uploaded on like Saturday the read aloud for chapter 12. So go check that out if you haven't listened to the audiobook yet. Hey Austin, welcome in, dude. Welcome in, my boy. I'm constantly having to go back and look stuff up because I forget sometimes. Most time I use AI and just as a guide, then I make my own. Nice. For an internal system, you can generate barcodes. Yeah, that's what I was hoping to do, is generate barcodes internally here on this LIMS system here. Okay, so let's take our database now that we added on all those insert functions, and let's make sure we don't have, let's just get some tests. Let's just get some feedback. Good progress, but there's several bugs to fix. Yeah, we probably have some. So insert equipment model vendor here. Insert into equipment model vendor's ID. And so this is model ID and vendor ID. Beautiful. Insert equipment model ID, serial number, status, location ID. And equipment, the ID is serial, so you don't insert the ID from equipment here. That would make sense, right? And that gets deleted there. Insert manufacturer. Manufacturers. Okay, and then because these can be null optionally, right, we could say, or which defaults to null if they're not there. So his name, email, phone, website. Just stir. Default. She goes to none by default. Just copy this. Okay, like that. Okay, I think we still have some more bugs, but I just like letting the AI find them for me, rather than me having to go through and look for them all. Let's get some. Where are the bugs at? Where are the bugs? Show me the bugs. Hey, Roni! Ronnie! Roni? What did I say that for? Okay, we have a couple bugs. Didn't get fixed. We added a lot of stuff. So, insert manufacturer. So here. Value still only has 2 items. Oh yeah, here. Email, phone, and website. Insert service vendor is the same issue. Yep. Email, phone, and services. Insert changelog is inserting into the wrong table. And ID is serialized on its own. That's right. Insert change log. Okay, I think that should do it. Let's make sure that is solid. That's clean and correct. We're fixed. So insert into changelog. Should have commit equals to false. The changelog should always commit automatically with the operation that triggered it, never on its own. Okay, the operation commits it, not whatever. Hey, what's up? What's going on? No, what do you, can we talk about this when you get home? Sorry, my girlfriend's having a rough day. She's was needing some support. Okay, we are good. We have successfully implemented 200 lines of code today. More than that, well, we have a schema here. We set up. We wrote a test for our database. We did. Man, we are really productive in terms of like, man, get us a dev job. Get us a dev job. Come on, someone hire ya boy. We're out here writing tests, we're out here writing schemas, we're out here writing CRUD functions, all in a less than 3 hour session. We got a project set up, git ignore, requirements, Docker, all this. Come on. Get me a dev job. Someone refer your boy. This is crazy. Okay. Cool. So we have that set up. We have the ability to. I'm gonna write here. I'm gonna do. So booleans here. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a boolean. It's like it's not really a query. It's just like yeah, it exists because we're using it in a boolean kind of all here. Okay. So sorry, I don't have any commands. I'm not that good of a streamer. So this project is kind of more of a. If you guys haven't seen the latest project we released, it's called polyworld.app. It's the pinned comment. So make sure you guys go sign up and create an account and do some custom better searches. If you guys find any cool insiders that you guys see on there using the snapshot tool, make sure to post them in the Discord. Please give me some feedback on the project. If you notice any bugs, consider maybe just let me know and we can work through them, and maybe I can add you onto the project if you want to maybe write it and try to fix the bug yourself. Things like that. I think it can be interactive that way. But make sure that you go ahead and join the project, polyworld.app. But this is a new project we started today for kind of creating our own limb system using our biology and chemistry background and wet lab experience for creating a limb system that would actually be useful for equipment flow and whatnot and life cycle spans. So I'm excited to get into this using some Postgres CRUD functionality, and this was a good session. So, but I think I'm going to call it here for today. I really don't want to call it. We have 26 people in here, so it's a really great turnout. So if you guys could leave a thumbs up on the stream and sign up for Polywhirl, that would be much appreciated. In the pinned comment, sign up for Polywhirl. But we streamed for 3 hours today, y'all. This was a super awesome stream. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow where we'll continue on. Today what we did is we set up a project. We copied over our database kind of class and kind of generalized it to this Labrador class, and then started building on some CRUD functionality for our table schemas that we established here, which looks really good. And then we also wrote a test, an imported PyTest, just for starting to write some tests for our features that we're adding in, which is really awesome. So we'll start writing some tests for testing out some of these CRUD functions and making sure they work appropriately. And then, yeah, it should be good to go. So let's go ahead and push up this. What do we do? We added, so add insert methods for all tables in DB. Okay, no push. Okay, cool. I'll wire up a repo right now and offline, and we'll continue on building this tomorrow. This is super fun. I think we'll be able to build, honestly, with at the pace we're moving, being able to put together kind of these full stack projects using Fast API, Postgres off our back end, and React Vite for our front end. We're able to kind of build these applications in kind of like a month's time. So my goal is hopefully by like the end of May, we'll kind of have this limbs kind of at least like a working MVP, and I can take it to my boss and maybe be like, hey, yo, do you guys want to use this to replace our current limbs that we're paying out the wazoo for that isn't even that good? And maybe, who knows? We'll see what happens. Okay. Thanks so much for being here, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe, like the stream if you guys enjoyed. Sign up for Polywhirl.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
Thank you, Zodiac.
You're not that
That's
guy.
a good way to end the stream. Peace out, guys.
Yeah, you? Absolutely.
Hold on, I'll ask you your question real quick, Beanbag. Would you recommend React over HTML? Definitely not. I think you need to learn HTML, CSS, and honestly, I haven't even really learned all of JavaScript stuff. I've only learned very basic JavaScript stuff and tried to just what I need to convert my Python code and understanding into JavaScript stuff for basic functionality. But like I would honestly do the first half of the Odin project online, which just teaches you bare metal HTML and CSS, has you just build like a little quick page and from scratch, and has you do it all from scratch, and then convert that into like React knowledge. I think that's pretty sufficient. At least that's what I did. But I like using React Vite. It spins up really well, and I don't like using class names for styling and stuff. But oh, nice. Then you should be fine. All right, cool, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.